Hey guys, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and it is Sunday, so once again we are doing breaches of the week, and this week, as always, doesn't disappoint. Now, this first tip came in from Christoph Faulon. Thank you, Christoph, by way of a post by Rebecca Rutherford on LinkedIn. So Rebecca, thank you for posting this, and Christoph, thank you for finding it and alerting me. And we are starting with Lebanon, Connecticut. Now, there's an organization there called the Southeastern Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence. They just had a data breach on February 18th, 2019. They had a ransomware attack, and they said that their breach may include affected individuals' names, addresses, social security numbers, as well as medical history and treatment information. So if you are in some way, shape, or form affiliated with the Southeastern Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, heads up to you. And once again, thank you, Christoph and Rebecca, for this tip. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Freedom Mobile. Now, this is a major telecom provider in Canada, and they just revealed that they had a data breach which may have exposed sensitive information belonging to thousands of their customers. Now, researchers from VPN Mentor said they were able to access a database basically that was totally unencrypted and unprotected online. And so Freedom Mobile has been basically having data leak or data being out there without good safeguards for quite some time. So we'll see what happens with Canada's privacy laws, as well as what happens to Freedom Mobile regarding this. Moving on, we're actually going to be talking about Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. Now, if you remember back in 2014, that was one of the largest data breaches at the time, affecting, I think it was something like 87 million. It was definitely over 80 million. I think it was 87 million patients, basically, customers of Blue Cross Blue Shield. It was the largest HIPAA violation at the time. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that two men from China are now being charged with this. A federal grand jury in Indianapolis, where Anthem is based, charged Fuji Wang, 32, of Shenzhen, China, and another individual named John Doe, in other words, they're not naming him, with conspiring to commit fraud, wire fraud, and international damage to protected computers. Now, the indictment says the two basically targeted employees of Anthem and hit them with spear phishing emails, meaning trying to break in through very custom crafted emails that people would open, click, all that kind of stuff. Now, this happened on February 18th, 2014, and then less than a month later, hackers were able to get into the network and download the data on 87 million of us. So that is an update to Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, which I thought was absolutely fascinating. Moving on, this actually is coming from an unknown source. We don't know what happened, but a newly found database of more than 80 million U.S. households basically have been found online. So it was a cloud database that was discovered by an Israeli team of data security experts that found it contained a range of extremely private information, including names, ages, even income levels, and marital status. But what makes this actually interesting is that all of this information is only on people over 40 in the United States. So if you are under 40 years old when this database came out, you are actually safe from this database. Now, they believe that this database affects roughly 65% of American households. That is a massive, massive number. If we are looking across the entire United States population, 65% of households have been affected by the data that was exposed out there, and we don't necessarily know where it came from. So, moving on, we're going to go to the country of Turkey. Their Personal Data Protection Authority said on May 10th that it had fined Facebook a total of 1.65 million lira, which is about $270,000 in the US, in April due to a data breach. Now, they are citing a Facebook statement from December that says the company had discovered basically a bug in their photo API that allowed third-party applications to access Facebook user profiles. And so the Turkish government said that 300,000 of their citizens were affected by this and therefore leveled the fine against Facebook. So Facebook, you're probably going to have to pay up. That should be an easy check for you to write. Moving on, we are looking at Scotland. Now, the Scottish National Party, I do not know where they are on the political spectrum, but the Scottish National Party is being fined for a breach of data protection laws after sending out tens of thousands of European election mailings to the wrong addresses. The Commissioner's Office confirmed on Friday morning, this couple of days ago, that the SNP, the Scottish National Party, had referred itself for investigation after voters across Scotland received letters addressed to strangers or neighbors. So somebody screwed up the mailing list for the Scottish National Party, and here we are, a data breach under Scottish and probably UK and probably European Union law. Moving on, we're going to be talking about India. Now, India's first listed e-commerce entity on the New York Stock Exchange, Infobeam Avenues, terminated one of its auditors, which was basically a firm affiliated with Ernst & Young, alleging that that auditor actually caused them to have a data breach. Now, Infobeam basically informed the stock exchanges about the data breach regarding certain unpublished price-sensitive information, which basically led, what they're saying, to a breakdown of trust by the company to Ernst & Young. Now, Ernst & Young disputes this claim, and so we'll see where this goes, but literally the oldest tech company in India that's publicly listed just had a data breach due to one of the big four accounting groups. So we'll see if that has any traction anywhere. Moving on, we're going to be talking about Eddie Bauer. If you're familiar with Eddie Bauer, the clothing, I think it's like an outdoor and clothing thing. They just agreed to a settlement with an Iowa financial institution, Viridian Credit Union, to dispense a class action lawsuit over a 2016 data breach. And basically, this just got filed in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Washington. And in all, Eddie Bauer is on the hook to pay out $9.8 million for a data breach that they suffered in 2016. So if you were affected by Eddie Bauer in some way, shape, or form, go get your money. And finally, let's talk about Ireland. Now, last month, a debt collection agency, and this is a organization called Cabot Financial Ireland Limited. They buy debt like mortgages from banks in Ireland, and basically they experienced a data breach which resulted in some customers' personal detail being released as a result of a phishing attack. And so there are a lot of banks in Ireland right now up in arms because their names are attached to all the mortgages that just got hit in this phishing attack. So if you're in Ireland and you have a house, heads up to you. And those are your data breaches of the week. Were you affected? Let me know. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.